What's up, everybody? We're back. We're going to be reviewing Issue's new album, Beautiful Oblivion. This is one of my favorite albums of this year. Did you say so?
Honestly, it's kind of a battle between Slipknot's album and this album. Because I've listened to this album a lot. And
yeah,
believe me,
same.
Slipknot's one of my favorite fucking bands. Like, I'm not going to lie. But this album
slays, honestly.
It's really good.
So before we get into that, you want to get into some metal news?
I mean, there's really not that much, but Fit for an Autopsy did release an album.
Right.
And I haven't really checked it out in its full entirety, but I did listen to a few of the songs. And honestly, from what I heard, it was pretty good.
Yeah,
and
I'm not like... Yeah. I honestly have barely heard of them, so I'm not going to act like I know them. But I heard that Matt Heafy of Trivium, their lead singer, said that it's a really fucking good album.
Yeah, he says it's probably one of the best albums of the decade. Like, he was super excited for the album. Like, he made this big, long paragraph post about it. And
yeah. So I'll have to check that out, and hopefully you guys check that out too. But let's go ahead and get into this Issues album.
So what I'd like to point out with this album is that, yes, it sticks to their like metalcore roots that they have, and it's really good. It's a really good album, but also they add a lot of other aspects of music to it. It's not just metal. I mean, they've added a variety to it.
I don't really know what to call it. It's like it brings music from like the 80s into it.
Well, yeah,
I don't
like
know what it's called.
R&B, soul.
Yeah,
gospel
like
aspects.
Gospel. And it's not like... So their other albums, they had this too, but I feel like this album is where they really brought that out. And they just said, like, definitely. I don't give a fuck if we're pure metalcore or if we're pure this or that. We're just going to make whatever the fuck we want. I mean, that's what I really respect.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, their first, like, their self-titled album, really good album. I love that album. And
it's pretty good.
I do kind of miss Michael. Michael was a good unclean vocalist. Had pretty good screams and like.
So did he leave the band? Because I honestly don't know.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, well,
because
he kind of got kicked out. Kind of.
I don't know.
I don't really know.
Yeah,
I don't really know the full story.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, so the song "Mad at Myself" and the song "Hooligans," those are like the two songs that I was really familiar with before this release. And those came out a while ago. I think like Hooligans was 2013.
That's a fucking good song.
Yeah.
And that's kind of genre bending too, actually.
Yeah.
There's like a DJing in it. Like,
Issues in general is just a weird band, but it's really unique, and that's what's so great
honestly,
about it.
With Issues, they kind of give me help. They give me hope for metal because they have a
unique sound.
They have a unique sound. The vocals are kind of like... I think to give
pop.
A shout out to Punk Rock MBA.
Great YouTube channel. Go check it out. Oh yeah.
He said that it's kind of like the vocals are kind of like a Justin Timberlake, which is he's a good vocalist.
Like honestly, I remember
it's kind of popish. I mean, I'm not saying that in a bad way.
I remember when Mad at Myself came out, and we were talking with Evan. And we all agreed that it sounded a lot like a metal Justin Bieber would. And like it's kind of weird. You know, you might feel like a little weird listening to it at first, but if you get used to it, it's fucking...
he has a pretty high-pitched voice. And
it's kick-ass.
It's really good.
It's so talented.
He has a really good voice with good ranges. I mean...
The highs are just
the highs
unbelievable.
Are amazing. And he can also do unclean vocals. I mean, like...
Is he the one doing the uncleans and like and tapping out?
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah, and tapping
out.
Are
you sure about that?
No, yeah, I'm sure. I'm pretty goddamn sure. Cause
that's fucking crazy.
I mean, right here it says on the Wikipedia page that it says backing unclean vocals from 2012 to present, but I don't know how updated this is because Michael did leave the band, so I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure that he is doing the unclean vocals.
That's impressive. That is so impressive. I honestly think he's one of my favorite vocalists. He's became one of my favorite vocalists. Like again, I didn't really start listening to them until this year. Like I knew a couple songs, but hardcore respect this year for sure with this album.
Definitely.
So let's talk about like some of the highlights on this album. Yeah.
Yeah. definitely Tapping Out. They released that as, I think that was the
Single.
first single they released.
It was, yeah.
And
That was early this year, right?
I loved it when it first came out.
Dude, I was so into it.
Yeah.
And again, like, since I wasn't a huge fan of
Yeah.
Issues beforehand, and Headspace, when that album came out, I kind of just didn't even look at it.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't really get into the album until after this album released.
Yeah.
I liked their self-titled album
their
Issues,
other shit now.
but that album I didn't really listen to until now. But it has some good songs on it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I think "Slow Me Down" is the one that I really liked on that album.
That's a good song.
That's a really good song.
I think there's a song called Coma.
Yeah, Coma's a really good
Yeah.
song too on that album, and I think FloJo is pretty popular too. But yeah, they're such a unique band. I really respect it.
Definitely.
So like
they also did a song with Franz from Attila, I think.
they did. Yeah,
I think I
kind of heard it. I can't
Love,
remember.
Sex, Riot, I think was the song
Yeah,
they did with Franz.
that's
a fucking great.
I forgot
song.
about that song. That was another song that I was really familiar with.
It was on
before
their
this.
EP, Black Diamonds, right?
Find
Or
that
was
shit.
it?
Black Diamonds, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Love, Sex, Riot, feat. Franzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah. Attila is a crazy band. They're pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked out Attila, go ahead and do that.
I mean, they're also kind of a little bit genre bending too.
Yeah.
I mean, not really genre. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. It's like
persona, bro.
He does come off as a douchebag, but I think that's his idea.
Well, it's kind of like Ronnie Radke from Falling in Reverse.
Yeah.
I like the personas though. Like it's fucking.
I think it's a genius idea. In my opinion, that's what's got issues. Or I mean, Attila's so popular
and Falling in Reverse.
I mean, and then they're also super fucking talented. So
yeah, and a lot of people hate on Attila and Falling in Reverse, and they're like, oh, they're dicks, or oh, their music is trash. Well, okay, honestly,
like, the more you start talking about it, the more popular they get.
I know. The more hate they get, the more popular they fucking get.
The whole idea of like bad, the whole idea of bad press is not anything new.
Yeah.
But people still fucking buy into it. It's retarded.
I mean, if you actually listen to Fallen in Reverse and Attila, which I mean, honestly, they actually are really good bands.
Yeah, they are.
With talented musicians, but
I'm gonna get back into the Issues album.
Get back to this album.
So, I think. So we talked about Tapping Out. That's a really good song. And that came out, and I was like kind of expecting a little bit of a more like metalcore rooted, heavy album. And
I didn't really expect this.
Yeah, I don't think anyone.
Well,
did.
then Drink About It came out, which it was a little bit. I don't think there's unclean vocals in it at all. I think it's just straight up clean, no screaming, and I loved it. I really did.
I honestly, when I heard it when it first came out, and I was watching the music video, and I was like, "What,
dude? That song still gets stuck in my head.
What's going on?" I know the chorus. It's like, "Oh, why you do that?" That was in my head for like 5 minutes.
I know, fucking same.
So
then,
that's a great song.
Flexing came out. I was like, What the
fuck
are they doing?
Yeah.
And I didn't mean that necessarily in a bad way. I was just like, they threw like a fucking curveball at me. I was like, okay,
Flexing is a weird song. It actually took me like almost 2 weeks to actually get into.
Check it out. It's definitely, I love the track.
Yeah. I respect the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's definitely going to be one of the hardest ones for a lot of you guys to get into.
Well, okay. I would say for a lot of the people that are more into pop and some more of that mainstream stuff, it's probably, if you want to get into this album, that song might...
Is this just band in general?
Yeah, that song would definitely be good for you, but for some of the more like metalcore fans or hardcore fans, it probably... Honestly, it might get hate from some of you guys.
You're gonna have to
listen to it with an open mind. But it's really good.
When I first listened to it on YouTube, there was so many dislikes on the song, and it was kind of it's like what the hell, guys. I mean, if you don't like the song, you don't have to dislike the video, because I still respect Issues for making a song that's so daring. Like, that takes a lot of courage to make such a weird song.
I kind of hate. Okay, I kind of hate the mainstream. I do, because then they're not really open to metal. They kind of hate on metal, and it kind of does upset me a little bit, because I feel like you could actually get into metal. But here's the thing: a lot of people, they don't get into metal because they're like, oh. Because it's still stigmatized a little bit in mainstream culture. I mean, it's
I feel like people are just unaware of all the different bands.
Yeah,
like all the different
there's a variety
subgenres of metal. I mean,
it's not just
like not everything is black metal.
Not everything is death metal.
You know?
No,
it's
in fact, death metal and black metal are probably my least favorite subgenres.
I'm not a huge fan of either of those. I mean, deathcore is like
definitely some very good bands that. I mean,
like I'll respect the fuck out of those bands.
I think Behemoth, they were really good live.
Yeah,
I loved them live. I mean, they put on good shows. And death metal bands. I mean, there's definitely a few like Death. I mean, I don't like Cannibal Corpse that much, but I do respect them.
Yeah, but then you talk about a band like Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah,
and people like they just say, oh, it's metal, right? And then you talk about a band like Issues, and people are like, oh, that's just metal. But then you fucking lay it out.
Yeah.
You listen to Cannibal Corpse and then you listen to Issues. These, like, it's unfair to group them into the same fucking genre. Like, it's ridiculous. I mean, they're so different.
Well, I mean, they're definitely, I don't know. I feel like music is a broad horizon, and I don't think that if you do step out of your genre a little bit, I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, like, on some real shit, it wasn't until, like, last year, about like midsummer, where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start listening to some metalcore, because Fit for a King got me into metalcore. And I was like, dude, this actually kicks some ass. And now, like, ever since then, I've just been addicted to metalcore, and I got into hardcore since then, and all this other shit. And like, I think people in general, and maybe it was just me with a closed mind, but I think people in general could benefit from opening their mind a little bit to different genres of music.
Yeah,
that doesn't just include metal. Like, that includes, like, me. It was really hard for me to get into a little bit of rap. But, like, some Jake Hill and shit, dude, I get into
Jake Hill, Tech Nine. I mean, even Eminem.
Yeah.
Good rappers.
I just, you know, I mean, it's not like I hate every other genre. It just took me a while to get into it. Just
now
like...
Let's get back to the album.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
I think...
But, yeah, you finish what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it would take a while for some people to get into Issues.
Well, I'm going to be honest. With the screaming and shit, it took me a while to get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, until I actually realized it and, like, understood it. Like... Then the emotion behind it. I mean, it's pretty great.
It's pretty crazy.
Anyway, back to the album. So, I'd also like to point out they like some of the gospel aspects, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like Find Forever.
Yeah.
I mean, they like
once the guitar kicks in.
And that's another thing that I'd like to point out is and I think the Punk Rock MBA said this, but They're kind of went progressive metal, like progressive metal.
Yeah, you can kind of hear the...
Yeah, like...
It's like gent...
With the bass, with
like
the...
gent and prog metal, you know?
Yeah, like some of their riffs and their licks. Definitely...
The bass in general.
Oh, yeah, the bass
Skylar Accord is a fucking kick-ass bassist.
Yeah, I agree.
I believe they won some kind of a Grammy or something a while ago. And because I only know this because I saw, like, Skylar Accord giving a speech... And it was like, I don't know. It just gave me a lot of respect for Skylar Accord, because I was like, you know, when do you see the bassist of a band being so prominent? It's so rare. But if you listen to Issues, if you're into bass guitar, you listen to Issues, just listen to the bass guitar, you'll get into that. Like, it is some kick-ass bass.
Well, and another track I'd like to point out is Your Sake.
Interesting.
It's piano. It's basically piano the whole time, but it's really good. And Tyler Carter's voice is amazing on it. Like I like that. Honestly, there's not a single song on this album that is bad.
No.
I think every song is good.
It's interesting that you brought up the song Your Sake, because I personally, like, that was like my I don't want to say least favorite. It makes it sound like I don't like the song.
Yeah,
but that was like the lowest track on my ranking of the album. But like Without You, that shit hits hard. When it's like Sugar Honey Iced Tea, that shit, dude, Without You is a great song. And then a lot of these choruses hit really hard.
Downfall,
yeah,
because that's another song that has some screaming in it, and it's badass.
It is. The chorus in that one too.
Well, there's only two songs on this album that actually have screaming, and that's Tapping Out and that's Downfall. And those songs are two of my favorite songs on the album.
They're both fucking great.
I think probably my favorite song in the album is "Here's to You."
That's a great song.
Like I like
another
the guitar
song
in that song.
Yeah,
like
and another song with a kick-ass chorus.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these songs, again, just all the choruses are just fucking killer. Rain is another good song. Look, we already brought up Fine Forever, right?
Yeah. The gospel and the R&B kind of soul aspects to the album.
It's pretty badass.
Yeah, I've actually I introduced this album to a few people, and they were like, and they're not like big into metal, but they loved the album.
Yeah, I feel like that's actually the crowd that's gonna like it the most.
Well, yeah, that's why I said this album gives me hope for metal, because I feel like a lot of people that don't like metal would love this album. Like,
Same.
honestly,
it's not just Issues. Like, I just want to bring up Starset for a little bit, because I feel like they're on the same side of metal and hard rock, where it's like...
And we definitely will be reviewing that album.
Yeah, Divisions is a great album by Starset. You got to check that shit out. We'll review that. But they also bring in that kind of like mainstream pop side of things, and I really do respect that.
Some kind of like electronic stuff in their songs. Yeah, it's pretty badass. But there was a few songs that I was surprised they actually had somewhat of a breakdown. Like, that was
pretty badass. So that's where I'm like, I don't know, they're metal or hard rock. But anyways, I think metal in general could just benefit from bands like this, and like Bring Me the Horizon. I mean, their new album, it really got a lot of hate because it did a lot of
well, it's fucking stupid because I mean they were getting hate when they were fucking deathcore with Suicide Season. I mean, like,
and then they go to metalcore, like, so influential and just
well,
pure
and then
metalcore.
That's the Spirit, and then this new album, Amu. I don't know how to fucking pronounce it.
I don't remember. I'm not like I haven't really listened to it that much. It's just
I actually did when I was at the gym the other day. I listened to the album throughout the whole thing, and I want to say I love it.
Yeah,
I do love it.
Like, I don't know. It's a really I gotta check album. It out again.
And
I know
we'll probably review that album too, because I think it's a good idea.
I'm down to, because I think it's important to highlight some of the like interesting, unique things that metal bands are doing.
And like with them, it was a smooth transition. So I don't know why people were surprised.
It's not like they just went deathcore to that. You know?
Yeah, it's not like. I mean, there's some bands that probably couldn't pull it off. But they did.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
They really did.
And I think they had a vision for it, you know? One of our friends went to one of their concerts, and the lead singer at one point actually, he said, "Flexin' is my problem."
Which is a reference to
Issues.
By Issues. And
which I just thought was pretty badass. He sent me the video of it, and I was like, that's fucking awesome. I love to see support from these other bands, and... because especially the song Flexin' got a lot of fucking hate. And I love to see the support from another band that Bring Me the Horizon. Another band that's just pushing the limits on what metal can do. You know?
Yeah.
And it's weird to consider their newest album metal. But it's like some of it is... Well, I don't know. It's kind of...
What, this album or Bring Me the
Horizons? No, Bring Me the Horizons.
I don't know if I would consider it metal.
But
this is what I'm trying to say here is like, I feel like a lot of metal heads or even people that are into rap or whatever, they stick to their genre and they don't really go outside of it.
And they kind of have, because I had this for a while where it's like, oh, that's not fucking heavy enough.
That's not, there's no breakdown, there's no guitar solo,
not
or
heavy.
Whatever.
The vocalist, the vocals are too high, all this shit. I think you should listen to things outside of your norm. And I think it actually, like, God, there's a lot of new artists that I listened to in the last year and a half. And it's really, honestly, brought a lot of enjoyment to my life.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because it's so many new artists that I get to listen to.
Well, I've even been listening to, like, indie stuff recently. And
yeah.
It's all of it's pretty good. There's good bands or good artists in almost every genre.
You know what I really want to check out? Highly Suspect is releasing a new album pretty soon.
Oh, yeah?
They might have released it. I don't know. No, they didn't. But I really respect them. I was listening to, like, a little interview with the lead singer.
Oh,
So yeah, you might see us review that album. I don't know.
Yeah, there's honestly way too many albums to review. I don't know if we could make it. We'll try.
We're gonna be pumping these ones out, but I don't know. It's gonna be difficult.
It's pretty hard.
We're trying. God, what's another highlight on this album? Second Best is a really good song.
Yeah,
too.
no, that's one of my favorites. I've said that about like 5 songs
already. I know. when I scroll through this album on Spotify,
yeah, I know it's like
every song is hearted, and I liked like every song in this album, which is just crazy. Usually, I'm actually a little skeptical when a new album comes out. Like I'll listen to it the first time.
I was even skeptical with Tool's album and Slipknot's album.
Yeah.
I mean,
sometimes I give it like 2 or 3 listens before I'm like, okay, no, all these songs are badass.
Well, yeah, no. With this album, I'm gonna be honest, I was like, wow, this is something new.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like I was like, oh, this is shit, this is dog shit. None of that. Like I did think it was good, but after like the 3rd, 4th listen, I was like, this is actually one of the best albums I've heard in a long time.
Like, another trend of this year was just albums coming out at the same time. Because Kublai Khan Absolute came out the same night that this Issues album came out.
Well, there was like a span of a few weeks where Of Mice and Men released an album. Then,
so
Issues, Kublai Khan.
So, when Kublai Khan's album came out, there might have been another album that night, but I don't remember.
Listened to that album first.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And then this was Beautiful Oblivion was just playing in the background a little bit. I was doing some other things, so I didn't really get to really focus on the music.
Well, and that's later the thing, that week, a lot of the times when these albums first come out, I'm at work and I'm closing, so I'll have my headphones on and I'll be listening to them. I'm paying attention, but I got to do my work. So,
it's kind of weird. Yeah. Like there's sometimes where if the music is kind of in the background, you'll actually respect it a little bit more. Oh, yeah. Like you'll grow a little bit of like you'll be doing whatever you're doing, and then you'll be like, holy shit, what the fuck is playing? Like this is some good shit. So that happened to me with Tool, and a lot of shit.
Dude. I mean, we already talked about the album, but I don't think we really went over the tracks as much. We kind of went over the band in general, but and the album in general. But Tempest,
badass.
Dude, when that song was playing and the fucking guitar solo hit, the first one, I know there's like 3 guitar solos in it, and I was like, holy shit,
yeah.
What the fuck is this? Like was amazing.
The same type of thing happened when I was listening to Beautiful Oblivion. When it got to Without You, and I've already brought it up, when it hits that Sugar Honey Iced Tea line, and I was lifting or something, and I was just like, holy shit. Like, I love it when you can hear the confidence in a vocalist. Yeah. You know? There's a few times where you can definitely hear it.
I will definitely say this isn't really the first time an artist or band has done this. I would like to point out Marilyn Manson, when Mechanical Animals came out, that album has a lot of gospel aspects to it too.
He does a lot of that.
Yeah.
And his new shit, like I noticed in even A Pale Emperor, like Killing Strangers, it takes like a weird old style country influence.
Yeah. Well, and then like I think we already mentioned this in our first Metalcast. Where he actually covered Johnny Cash's God's Gonna Cut You Down. And it's pretty fucking badass. So Johnny Cash is definitely someone I respect.
Yeah.
I'm not like a country fan, but
the older stuff I can get a little bit more into.
like more the folk style country. Like some of this new country I think is just trash.
I just respect. And I want to see it more. I respect these bands that they have a lot of confidence and they really push the limits of what their band is supposed to be. I don't want to see a band stick to their genre. I think it gets them into some trouble. Like, personally, I think that's what happened to Wage War in the newest album.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't change. I mean, I felt like these were throwaway songs on their last album. Like, they basically,
I don't want to be too harsh.
Yeah, I know. I love Wage War. Yeah, I do say like Stitch.
Blueprints,
Alive,
fucking amazing album.
Blueprints was a good album,
but I feel like
good songs.
I expect that their next album will be pretty badass because I feel like this is a learning experience for them. But I feel like Issues might have kind of dealt with a little bit of that on Coma, or I'm sorry, Headspace. I feel like Headspace was like a mix of like, where the fuck are we going? Are we staying with this screaming, or are we going to this I guess more high vocals and gospel type feel? Because there's a lot of fucking heavy songs on Headspace, which I'm not complaining at all, because I'm into a lot of heavy shit.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, it would. I think Issues, they did it good because they already kind of had that genre bending aspect from the start.
Yeah, they did.
Honestly,
you listen to Hooligans, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but like if Knocked Loose were to do something like this, it just wouldn't go over that well.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not trying to shit on Knocked Loose; they're a great band, and
I feel,
but that like, hardcore scene, it's kind of
limited. I feel like the ceiling of how far the hardcore genre can go in terms of like their sound, I feel like it's pretty low compared to like metalcore. I feel like that's because of the vocals in particular.
Well, yeah, the vocals. I mean, I don't know. I feel like when bands start out already genre bending, it kind of does set them up to be a more flexible band.
Yeah.
And I think...
I feel like every band, every great band has to have at least one album where you can kind of hear they don't... Like, they're going somewhere else with their music. You know they're trying to push some limits.
Yeah.
But it's like they're kind of in between. They're kind of stuck in between staying like the way they were or going completely forward.
Well, I mean,
into a
even
different...
Slipknot kind of did that. With the Grey Chapter, there were some songs like Goodbye that were not very heavy.
Not super heavy, but just like... And now you got shit like Spiders, which is
dude. Spiders is probably my favorite track on the album, and we're definitely going to review that.
We'll review that album too. But so
I don't
overall,
want to say too much about it.
Overall, I'd say this Issues album is one of my favorite of the year.
I mean, definitely.
And I would look out for it on being like my top 10 albums of the year once this shit wraps up.
Towards the end of the year, we'll probably be putting a playlist together on Spotify that you guys can listen to.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely put a top 10 up. So,
yeah, we'll probably rank our favorite albums of this year.
Which I'm going to admit, it's going to be hard.
It's going to be pretty badass. So just look out for that. And anything else you want to add?
No, other than this album's amazing. And I think you
check
should
it out. Issues,
definitely go check it out.
Issues, Beautiful Oblivion. Check that shit out. Tyler Carter crushes it. Skylar Accord crushes it. All of them crush it. That's all. See you next time.